In today's video, we're going straight into one of the biggest culture shocks Europeans run into in the United States. And it's not a restaurant, it's not a supermarket. It's a regular public high school. We'll start with the yellow school bus, then head straight into the size of a normal high school gymnasium, and finish with something most Europeans genuinely don't have in this form: a personal locker for every single student and an entire universe of school clubs and activities. By the end of this, you'll understand why so many exchange students say their first month in an American school felt like moving to a completely different country. Topic 1. The yellow school bus.
Oh my God, the yellow school bus is real. The yellow elementary bus is real.
The yellow buses are actually real?
Yes, all over.
What? I thought that was like only in cartoons.
Hey, this is for all of the European people, Brits and anyone else who don't believe that school buses are a real thing in the U.S. Of course they are.
It turns out that Europeans think that school buses are fake, but check this out. It's a school bus, as seen.
Let's start with the most iconic image of American childhood that most Europeans have only ever seen in movies: the yellow school bus. In most of Europe, kids get to school on foot, by bike on a regular city bus, or their parents drive them. There isn't usually a dedicated single-purpose vehicle whose entire job is just moving children specifically. So when a European teenager sees an actual yellow bus, in real life, for the first time, the reaction is almost always the same: half excitement, half disbelief, like they just walked onto a film set. And it's not just the color. The size of the thing is what actually gets people. These buses are built to carry 70, sometimes 80 kids at once, with a design that hasn't fundamentally changed in decades, specifically because it works. Reinforced construction, high seatbacks, a flashing stop sign arm that legally forces every car behind it to stop completely on both sides of the road. That's the part that genuinely shocks people the most. In a lot of European countries, there's no equivalent law where every single car on a road, regardless of direction, has to come to a full stop because one bus is picking up one child. It sounds like a small detail, but it says a lot about how seriously the infrastructure around kids getting to school is treated here. It's not an afterthought bolted onto public transport. It's its own entire purpose-built system. There's also the sheer scale of it nationally. Tens of thousands of these buses running daily routes through suburbs that were, again, built specifically with car and bus access in mind, not walking distance. American suburbs weren't designed around kids walking to school. They were designed around kids being driven safely, reliably every single day by a vehicle whose only job is exactly that. If you've ever seen an American school bus in a movie and thought it looked fake, drop a comment below. And if this is the kind of everyday American detail you want more of, hit subscribe now because we're just getting started. Topic 2. The size of the gymnasium. Second thing on the list, and this one hits the moment you actually walk inside the building: the gym. In a lot of European schools, the gym is a modest indoor hall.
This is all for the high school sports team? We don't even have high school sports. This looks like a professional field. You know, I would think that's obvious, but I forget that we are in America. Why is there a parking lot?
You guys drive to school?
Okay, so I'm at an American high school right now. I've never seen anything like this as an Englishman. It's so cool. Look at this. Look, it's literally like a movie. I'm literally in a movie right now. Look at the stadium. The football goals. Come on, this is sick. I literally feel like I'm in Back to the Future.
Enough for a volleyball net. Maybe basic bleachers folded against the wall, used mostly for PE class and the occasional school event. In a typical American public high school, the gym is often a genuine full-size basketball arena with retractable bleachers that seat several hundred, sometimes several thousand people, a scoreboard, sponsor banners, and championship flags hanging from the ceiling. For a first-time visitor, this is the moment reality doesn't match expectations at all. This isn't a sports hall attached to a school. Functionally, it's a small arena that happens to be inside a school, and it's not treated as a side facility either. Home basketball games regularly draw real local crowds, with actual ticket sales, actual referees, and sometimes actual local news coverage for a game between two 16-year-old teams. There's a reason for this beyond just Americans love sports. School sports here are deeply tied to community identity. A school's team is often the entire town's team, not just the students. Parents who graduated decades ago still show up to cheer for a school they haven't attended in 30 years, and once people understand that context, the size stops feeling like showing off and starts feeling like the logical result of treating school sports as a genuine, ongoing community event. Topic 3. The personal locker and the universe of school clubs. And the third thing, which sounds minor at first but actually reshapes the entire structure of a school day. Every student gets their own personal locker, and around that, an entire system of belonging to dozens of different clubs and activities. In most European schools, a student simply doesn't have a personal spot inside the building. The backpack stays with you all day, and belongings are kept at home or in a shared classroom. In a typical American school, every student gets their own metal locker with a combination lock from day one, their own personal lockable space inside the building that no one else has access to, and it's not just a place for textbooks. The inside of the door almost always gets covered in photos, stickers, a schedule, a small mirror. The locker becomes a tiny personal space inside a shared building, something like a miniature version of your own room just at school. For a European exchange student, the very idea that a 16-year-old gets their own lockable personal space inside an educational institution feels unfamiliar, as if the school trusts them with more personal territory than they'd get at home. And that same principle of personal space and belonging carries straight through into the sheer number of clubs and activities a school offers at once. Marching band, cheerleading, debate club, robotics, the school newspaper, drama club, dozens of sports teams at different levels, and that's just part of the list at one ordinary school. Each of these clubs often has its own uniform, its own budget, its own practice and performance schedule, and sometimes even its own dedicated locker or equipment closet. For a European visitor, this flips the whole idea of school on its head, too. Back home, extracurriculars are usually limited to a couple of activities run through a city sports club separate from the school itself. Here, this entire structure is built directly into the school, and it's through picking a club that a student finds their group, their own identity inside a building of thousands of people, exactly the same way the locker gives them their own physical space. So that's the real reason American high schools keep shocking European exchange students, and it's not really about access for its own sake. A bus system built as its own dedicated piece of infrastructure, a gym that functions like a small arena, and an entire structure of personal space and belonging, from the locker to the club you choose, all of it comes from the same place, treating school life and the community around it as something worth genuinely investing in. If any part of this matched your own experience, or you've got a story about seeing an American school for the first time, drop it in the comments below. And if you're proud of how seriously this country takes something as simple as a school bus stop or a student's own locker, go ahead and hit subscribe, because next time we're heading straight into the school cafeteria and why lunch in an American high school looks nothing like lunch anywhere else in the world.